Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling a topic that I think a lot of people are curious about and maybe even a little confused about, and that's what women really want in bed.
Yeah,
Now,
for sure.
to help us unpack this, we've got this super interesting article called What a Woman Wants in Bed: Understanding Intimacy, Connection, and Communication.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so let's dive in and see if we can get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things that this article highlights right off the bat is this idea of emotional connection.
Okay.
For a lot of women, physical intimacy is really deeply intertwined with feeling emotionally connected to their partner.
That makes sense.
It's about feeling safe and secure and vulnerable and really trusting the person that they're with.
So it's more than just the physical act itself.
Exactly.
It's about that deeper level of intimacy.
Right, and the article even suggests that building this kind of connection, it actually starts outside of the bedroom.
Oh, interesting. So what do they mean by that?
Well, they talk about the importance of things like meaningful conversations, spending quality time together and just really being present in each other's lives.
So it's like you're laying the groundwork for that intimacy to blossom.
Exactly. It's like building a strong foundation for a house.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, you can't expect to have a stable structure if you don't have a solid base.
Right. It's all connected.
And speaking of connections, the article is really clear about something else that's super important: consent and communication.
Okay.
And it's not just about being respectful, it's about making sure that both partners feel comfortable and excited about what's happening.
Yeah, that makes sense, because if one person's not feeling it, then it's not going to be a good experience for anyone.
Right, exactly. And the article even gives some specific phrases that you can use with your partner. You like this, or how do you feel about trying this?
See, I think those questions are so important because it really opens up the lines of communication and it makes sure that everyone's on the same page.
Totally. It takes the guesswork out of it.
So we've got this foundation of emotional connection and this crucial element of consent and communication.
Mm-hmm.
What else does the article dive into?
Well, they talk a lot about something that I think is often overlooked or rushed, and that's foreplay.
Oh, foreplay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good one to talk about because sometimes it feels like people treat it as just like a quick pit stop on the way to the main event.
Yeah, exactly. And that can be a real missed opportunity.
Especially for women, right?
Especially for women, because for a lot of women, arousal is a much more gradual process.
Okay.
It's really intertwined with that emotional intimacy that we were talking about before.
I see.
So if you rush into things without taking the time to build that desire and connection, it can leave a woman feeling kind of unsatisfied or even disconnected.
So instead of thinking of it as just a prelude to sex, it's more like we're setting the stage.
Right.
We're building anticipation.
Exactly. And that's why the article really stresses the importance of savoring each step of the process, exploring what brings pleasure, and viewing foreplay as an integral part of the overall experience.
So it's not just a means to an end, it's part of the journey.
Exactly.
Okay, so how can we make foreplay more engaging and enjoyable for both partners?
Well, the article talks about the importance of thinking outside the box a little bit.
Okay.
It's not just about the usual kissing and touching. It's about really understanding that foreplay can encompass a variety of different activities.
Like what kind of activities?
Well, they mention things like sensual massage, teasing touches, whispered compliments, even playful banter.
Oh, so it's about getting creative?
Exactly, finding what resonates with both partners.
Yeah, I love that.
It's about making it fun and exciting.
And this leads to another really interesting point that the article makes about focusing on her pleasure, not just on reaching some kind of destination.
Yes, and this is so important.
Right. It's not about a race to the finish line.
Not at all. It's about enjoying the journey together.
It's about making sure that both partners are feeling good and having a good time.
Right, and that's where being attuned to your partner's body language becomes really important.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, they talk about things like noticing a back arch or gripping arms or even just heavier breathing.
These are all signs of enjoyment.
Exactly, even if words aren't being spoken.
Wow, it's like learning a secret language.
It is, in a way.
Being able to read those subtle cues and respond to them.
Exactly, and it shows that you're really paying attention to your partner and that you care about their pleasure.
So we've covered a lot of ground already, but I'm guessing there's even more to uncover in this deep dive, right?
There is, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely more to explore when it comes to intimacy.
Okay.
And one thing that the article really emphasizes is the importance of variety.
Okay, so shaking things up a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Keeping things fresh and exciting can really go a long way in preventing things from becoming monotonous.
But I'm guessing that doesn't mean we have to, completely overhaul everything.
Yes, it. No, not at all. Even small changes can make a big difference.
Yeah, okay.
Like, trying different positions,
Good.
maybe exploring a little bit of role playing,
Okay.
or even just changing up the location.
Yeah.
It's about finding those little sparks that can kind of reignite the passion.
So it's kind of like trying a new recipe.
Yeah.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel,
Yeah.
but just adding a new spice or a new ingredient can totally transform the dish.
I like that analogy.
And of course, it's important to make sure that both partners are on board with trying new things.
Oh, absolutely.
No pressure or guilt trips,
No,
just open communication and a sense of adventure.
exactly. And speaking of exploring different aspects of intimacy,
Uh-huh.
the article makes a really fascinating distinction between confidence and cockiness.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah. And it argues that while confidence can be incredibly attractive,
Okay.
cockiness can be a major turnoff.
So like the difference between someone who's comfortable in their own skin versus someone who's kind of trying too hard.
Exactly. It's like, one person walks into a room and they just have this natural magnetism about them.
Right.
And then the other person is practically shouting about how great they are.
And it's just a little much.
A little much, yeah.
Yeah.
And the article highlights that women tend to be more drawn to partners who are self-assured, but also respectful and attentive to their needs.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
between being assertive and being a good listener,
Right.
which I think can be a tricky balance sometimes.
It can be.
Yeah.
Now, kind of shifting gears a little bit here, I think it's really important to address something that's super relevant in today's world.
Okay.
And that's body image.
Mm.
We live in a culture where we're constantly bombarded with images of perfect bodies.
Yeah,
And it's so easy to start internalizing those unrealistic standards.
totally.
So the article really emphasizes how crucial it is to make a woman feel comfortable and appreciated regardless of her size or shape.
I think that is so important
It is.
because so many people struggle with body image issues.
Yeah, and it can really affect their confidence and their self-esteem.
Absolutely.
So how do we counteract that?
Right.
Well, the article talks about the concept of body positivity,
Okay.
which is all about celebrating and appreciating all bodies.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about fostering an environment where your partner feels safe expressing herself without fear of judgment.
So it's about shifting the focus from flaws to celebrating what makes each person unique.
Exactly.
I remember reading a story about a woman who had always struggled with body image issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then she met someone who made her feel absolutely beautiful just as she was. And it completely transformed her self-perception.
That's so powerful.
It was really amazing.
It is. It's amazing how much of an impact that can have.
Now, we've talked about what happens before and during intimacy, but what about afterwards?
Yeah,
Did the article address that at all?
it does. It brings up this concept called aftercare,
Aftercare.
which might sound a little clinical,
Yeah, a little bit.
but it's really just about nurturing that connection and fostering a sense of closeness and security after intimacy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm really curious to learn more about this. What exactly does aftercare look like in practice?
Well, the article recommends simple but meaningful gestures.
Okay.
Like cuddling, talking, or just spending some quality time together after being intimate.
So it's like the cool down after a workout.
Exactly.
You don't just stop abruptly.
Right.
You take some time to stretch, hydrate, and let your body recover.
And aftercare is kind of like doing the same thing for your emotional connection.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it doesn't have to be anything complicated.
Okay.
Even just cuddling up on the couch to watch a movie or enjoying a quiet moment together can make a world of difference.
So it's about extending that feeling of connection beyond the physical act itself.
Exactly. It's about those little gestures that really speak volumes.
I like that.
So, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
From emotional connection and communication to the power of foreplay and prioritizing pleasure.
It's been a lot.
It has.
And I think it's important to kind of bring it all together.
Yeah.
And connect it back to the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
So what does it all mean when it comes to understanding what women truly want in bed?
Yeah. So we've talked about all these different elements,
Mhm.
Emotional connection, communication, foreplay, body positivity, aftercare.
Yeah.
What's the common thread running through all of this?
What does it all mean when it comes to understanding what women truly want?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that it's about so much more than just the physical act itself. It's about creating a truly connected experience.
So it's about going deeper.
Exactly. It's about fostering that sense of intimacy and understanding that goes beyond just the physical.
And I think that leads to a really important question that maybe we can leave our listeners with.
Yeah, what's that?
How can you apply these insights to create a more fulfilling and intimate connection with your partner?
Ooh, that is a great question.
It's something to really think about.
It is, because, we've given you all these tools and ideas, but ultimately it's up to you to figure out how to use them in your own relationship.
And I think a big part of that is communication.
Oh, absolutely.
Being open and honest with your partner about what you need, what you want, what you're comfortable with.
Right. Because without that open dialogue, it's really hard to create a truly intimate and fulfilling experience.
It's like you're trying to build a house without any blueprints.
Exactly. You might end up with something, but it's not going to be what you envisioned.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I hope you're walking away with not only a better understanding of what women want in bed, but also a sense of inspiration and maybe even a little bit of empowerment.
Yeah.
To go out there and create more fulfilling, intimate experiences in your own lives.
Absolutely. And remember, a deeper and more satisfying, intimate life is within reach for everyone.
It is.
It starts with communication, connection, and a willingness to embrace the journey together.
Beautifully said.
Right.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but the conversation doesn't have to end here.
Right. Keep exploring, keep talking to your partner, and keep discovering what works for you.
And until next time, happy exploring.
Bye, everyone.